It has been about 20 years since I came to Japan. I first came to Japan in 2005 around the time of IG Expo. There will be Expo in Osaka this year, right? I am currently working as a nurse in an OBGYN clinic. I changed my career path and became a nurse because of certain events after I came to Japan. And today, I would like to talk about my experiences from the time I came to Japan until I became a nurse. I hope this information will be helpful to you. Before coming to Japan, I studied Japanese at a university in Vietnam. I had the opportunity to study in Japan right after graduation. At that time, I passed the level 2 of Japanese language proficiency test. I longed for the university life abroad, and eventually I wanted to find a job in Japan and become a permanent resident. I thought that in order to find a job in Japan, I would need not only Japanese language skills, but also specialized knowledge other than Japanese. So I decided to go back to university to study something specialized instead of doing research at a graduate school. However, I thought it would be difficult to pass the university exam with a level 2 of JLPT, so I enrolled in a Japanese language school with the goal of passing level 1 of JLPT. After studying for a few months, I was told that the class I wanted to advance to in April would not open due to low enrollment, so I should try to take the university entrance exam instead of waiting until I could get the JLPT level 1. I quickly researched universities and took the university entrance exam. There was a scholarship for international students, and I was accepted into a university where I could study information systems even though I was a liberal arts major. When I was in my junior year, the Lehman shock occurred, and it was predicted that it would be difficult to find a job due to the effects of the shock. I was told that I might not be able to find a job if I did not start looking early and proactively. Therefore, in order to be able to concentrate on the job hunting and my thesis in my fourth year, I worked hard in my third year to obtain the credits necessary for graduation and the qualifications necessary for the job hunting, such as the JLPT Level 1, Business Proficiency Test Level 3, TOEIC, and MOS. When I was about to start looking for a job at the end of my third year, my father suddenly died from heart attack. I had to return to Vietnam in a hurry. I was in Vietnam for about 3 months for family reasons. When I returned to Japan, some of my classmates had already started looking for jobs and had received unofficial job offers. But due to the effects of the Lehman shock, there were cases where job offers were cancelled, so some of them continued their job hunting without stopping at one company because they could not let their guard down. I started my job search in a state of anxiety because I started later than those around me. I went to a lot of company information sessions, applied for jobs, took selection tests, and was repeatedly rejected. Each time, I would get depressed and my self-confidence would drop. I was also under a lot of pressure to find a job because of my visa. It was a lot of pressure, and those days were very hard time for me. Some of my friends who were also international students gave up looking for a job. After 2 months of dedicated job hunting, I managed to get a job offer from one company. However, after the company's training period, I would not be working in Japan but in China or Vietnam. Although this was different from my vision of working in Japan, I was happy to have found a job in the middle of the recession and decided to continue working for this company. To pay for college at that time, I worked hard at part time jobs in addition to scholarships and support from my family. I worked at a grocery store during the weekdays and as Vietnamese interpreter at a OBGYN clinic on Saturdays. My part-time job at the OBGYN was introduced to me by a friend. This meeting was a major turning point in my life. Although the medical terminology was difficult to understand as an interpreter at the OBGYN clinic, it was interesting to see the work of the doctors and nurses up close for the first time. When the medical terms were difficult, senior medical interpreters and nurses explained and taught me the meanings. Sometimes I understood the meaning, but other times I could not grasp it. I interpreted while I researched and studied basic medical knowledge. There were so many things that I didn't understand and it was difficult, but it was a very rewarding job because I was able to be helpful and appreciated by others. At that time, I admired that it would be great if I had medical knowledge like a nurse and could explain things to patients. Aside from work, the seniors and nurses listened to me a lot during breaks when I was stuck looking for a job. My seniors encouraged me to become a nurse, saying that if I became a nurse, I would not be affected by the recession and would not have trouble finding a job. To become a nurse, you have to study at nursing school for 3 years. During that time, it is necessary to spend 1 year in a hospital for practice training and then take and pass a national exam to get a nursing license. I honestly admired the work of nurse very much, but I also thought it was time for me to get a job and make life easier for my parents since I had burdened them for so long by sending me to college twice in Vietnam and Japan. I thought a lot about visa and career paths while consulting with my mother. My mother told me that even though our family could not afford it, she could manage to pay for my tuition and would support me if I wanted to study nursing. I cannot thank my mother enough for always being by my side and supporting me. After much deliberation about whether to get a job or go back to school, I decided to become a nurse. Fortunately, I was accepted into the Municipal College of Nursing and started again as a nursing student. Studying at the nursing school was very busy and I had to learn new things every day and take a lot of tests. Still, I managed to keep up with my classmates by doing things in front of me desperately one by one. The 1 year internship was even harder as I had to practice in the hospital during the day and write a report at the same day about what I noticed and learned, which took me until 1 or 2 a.m. every day. In the second half of the training, there were many days when I stayed up all night. It was very hard work, but those days were fulfilling. After the internship ended without incident, the next thing that will decide my fate was the national exam. If I did not pass, I would not get a license and would have to return to my home country without a job. What I had in my mind is that all the hard work I had put in over a long period of my life would vanish in an instant. I studied harder than ever before with a mindset that I had to pass the exam no matter what. When I saw that I had passed the national nursing examination, I was so relieved that tears came out from my eyes. I had finally achieved my goal. After becoming a nurse, I worked in a general hospital for about 2 years and then returned to the OB/GYN clinic where I worked as a medical interpreter and nurse for 10 years. I helped not only Japanese but also Vietnamese people to have a safe pregnancy and delivery in Japan even if they do not understand Japanese. It took me a long time to become a nurse, but I am glad I chose nursing. There will be a lot of things you will experience throughout your life, and when you are stuck and can't see the future, if you do your best to do what is in front of you and what you can do one by one, I think a new path will open up for you. Thank you for listening.